Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy to see all of you. Some of you I know very well, and some of you I am just meeting. I'm Beth Bamonte. I lead Analyst Relations at IBM. Welcome to Barcelona. Welcome to our booth. Hope you're having an amazing experience thus far. I'm joined this morning by Andrew, Luke, and Raul. We're going to share with you a number of things this morning. We've got a nice experience for you. Over here we've got our Sevilla soccer tournament happening, and over here we have somebody already playing ping pong, so I hope you have a lot of fun. I hope you learn a lot this morning, and I hope you have some coffee and just enjoy your time with us and the rest of the time here at the World Conference. I'm going to turn it over to my friends.
Good morning everybody, welcome here to our booth. Thank you for being here at the beginning of the day, it's appreciated. I'm Luke Nayazi, I'm the Global Managing Partner of Industries, and my responsibility is making sure that we bring together our partner industry ISV, IBM technology and consulting capabilities in an industry context. And we do that across the major industries in the sector. So today we're talking about telcos, but in my team we have banking, government, energy resources, industrial manufacturing, consumer retail, etc. I'm sure that when you kind of experience the show, you're going to be overhyped on the whole AI agenda. But it is one that is massively important. It is, like cloud, one of the large transformative shifts that are changing just the way that we create value, the way that we drive productivity, and the way that we drive efficiency. Now, the challenge with that is, how do you do that in a way that is going to be scalable, trustworthy, responsible, bringing together all of the innovation that you want, but in a way that can be handled in just the same way as you handle a lot of your enterprise processes. And so when you think about the building blocks of AI, it is fundamentally important that organizations and partners are architecting for AI in the right way. Are you building an architectural framework for AI that is multi-AI, multi-cloud, multi-model, multi-agentic framework? Now everybody will be coming with their capabilities, but as an enterprise, whether you are a bank or whether you are a retailer or whether you are a healthcare provider or a telco, the challenge is how do you bring that together in the right way? And that's why having an open, multi-cloud, multi-modal, multi-agentic framework is critically important. And one of the things that you're going to see as you go and experience our various booths, you're going to see examples of that, whether that's how you apply that in the specific areas like network automation, but also how do you bring together the agentic frameworks as an example. And of course, if you go to our partner organization, Red Hat, you're going to hear, you'll know that Red Hat is an IBM company, you're going to hear all about not only the multi-cloud, but also what we're doing to drive multi-modal capabilities in a cost-effective way. So I do think it's really important that we think about that AI agenda in this way. Clearly, everybody has been accelerating on the productivity rise, and the opportunity for driving productivity in pretty much anything that gets done is happening now at a rate pace. Productivity into customer service, productivity into network operations, productivity into HR, into finance, productivity into the way that you build networks and enterprise IT systems. Within the work that we do, we're enabling that through our What's the Next portfolio. You're going to hear more about that from Andrew and Associated Technologies. agile about automation as well. But we're also doing that from a consulting perspective. Every single client from us expects that we bring productivity into all of the consulting work that we do, whether that's strategy, systems integration, hybrid cloud and AI work, whether that's business process operations, application operations, or cybersecurity. And one of the missions that I'm very proud to have had is that I was the managing partner that launched IBM Consulting Advantage. So if you're not aware of what IBM Consulting Advantage is, go have a look at it. It's a modern day, built in the last 12 months, open, multi-cloud, multi-model, multi-agentic framework, AI framework for accelerating the work that we do in our consulting delivery, but also increasingly now how we want to deliver industry AI capability. Before I pass, I think first we'll talk more about what we're doing in telco, and then Andrew to talk about more about what we're doing in the technology side. The one additional thing that I would want to emphasize is in that philosophy of multi-cloud, multi-model, multi-agentic framework, we need to think also about the relevance and the size of the LLMs that are being applied to the problem. And so, for example, as you walk across the halls, a lot of discussion around IoT and IoT connectivity, AI closer to the edge. Well, in our world, we take our Granite 8B models, which are smaller, but we train them using Instruct Labs to give you trusted enterprise secure LLMs that can be used and trained to the specificity of the business case or the use case that you're applying. Now, we do that both in terms of an enterprise perspective, but we also train them on industry standards. So, for example, we've trained Granite on the BIAN standard for banking. We've used the TMF standards for the way that we trained in telco. And why is that relevant? Because, of course, a smaller industry-trained model would be much more efficient than a large language model. And this again comes back to an underarching theme that I want to emphasize, which is responsibility. We talk about responsibility and trust in data and how you put that together in the customer experience. But there's another underlying responsibility point that not many people are talking about right now, which is the explosion of the energy consumption of AI at scale through a massive LLM model. It simply isn't cost efficient. It's certainly not carbon and energy efficient. And if you, and I do work, for example, I'm a member of a CEO group that advises on European energy infrastructure right now. The grids cannot take the explosion of what's occurring in the data centers. And so LLMs that are just growing like this, scraped from all of the world's publicly available data, are not the way forward. A highly trained LLM based on high quality enterprise data, trusted and responsible, which is the whole philosophy that we have in our Granite framework. And by the way, there are other companies doing this as well, Mistral are doing this as well. But that philosophy is really, really key, because if you want to put AI into customer experience, you don't need the same LLM training as you're putting that into network operations. Yeah? So be specific, be thoughtful, be purposeful, drive additional value, but be responsible. My last point, of course, is the last 2 years have been all about productivity. Agentic is creating new possibilities, and if any of you were able to join the fireside chat that happened yesterday about the Sevilla football, or joined us at the FT event that we did last night, we're talking about value creation in industries, and that there were two great examples about really trying to drive value creation in the Sevilla story with the scouting process. I think it's very important that the dialogue changes from AI at scale in productivity to to AI at scale in both productivity and value creation. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Rahul to give you a bit more of a flavour about what's going on in the telco.
Thanks, Luke, and good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. My name is Rahul Kumar. I'm the Global Industry Leader for Telco and Media Industries for IBM Consulting, working for Luke. So he mentioned different verticals. I run the telco and media industry. So Luke majored in on the AI platform. I'm just going to take it a little bit deeper in terms of the platform he mentioned, IBM Consulting Advantage. The acceleration of the adoption of that within our own organization has been tremendous. We've gone from 0 users to 85,000 users in a period of 12 months. Right? That shows the intention that we have behind showing up at a client, not just as humans with our intelligence, but also with digital labor. So on this platform, there are a variety of assistants. There are already 2,000 assistants published that all of our consultants are using in their day-to-day life as appropriate, but also bringing them to the clients in a very intentional and industry-specific manner. There are over 60 to 100 domain and industry-specific assistants, including assistants that help drive productivity and value creation with our ecosystem partners like SAP platform, Salesforce platform. In fact, if you happen to get some time in one of our labs, we just showcased an Agentforce, Salesforce Agentforce billing agent yesterday at the Salesforce booth. I mean, those are kind of advancements that we're doing as we show up at our clients. So that's on IBM Consulting Advantage. Using that, our clients, specifically within telco, are driving not just productivity advantages, but as Luke mentioned, value creation. So think about if you were able to shorten the product management life cycle from 12 months to about 3 months. That's not a productivity play. It could be, but think of the number of ideas you can test out very quickly and make a decision on whether this is fit for purpose, successful or not, and move on to the next one without having to spend too much time. The beauty of that is it's based not on somebody just thinking of those ideas, but it's based on data analysis, the analytics behind it. Luke mentioned the sports analogy. There are a couple of activations here. And one of the questions people ask is why IBM in sports and why sports activations at a telco show? Well, if you look at it closely, it's all about data. It's all about the insights you drive out of data, how you visualize that. So as you look at these activations, at the back of your mind, think if this was network data flowing through the telco network. What possibilities could be enabled by garnering the insights? Spotting patterns, right? Spotting where the networks are heavily being used, where there's a chance of overload, how you can redirect the traffic, and then use that insights to drive further changes, productivities. But also, back to the value statement, if there are certain customer attributes that you can garner back from the network data, you could be positioning them upsells in terms of better services and driving more revenue, driving more value. So the game around AI is changing very rapidly. We are in the agentic framework pieces, but doing it very responsibly and in a meaningful way. Look, at the end of the day, everybody will have their agentic architecture. As consultants, our mandate is to help our clients use that responsibly and appropriately. It's not going to be just the technology that's going to drive which agents get activated. At the end of the day, it's going to boil down to the quality of data, the trust of data, and how much you, as clients, trust the autonomy that you can give to these agents to drive a process from one end to the other. We'll find an example of that in one of our PSLs where we've taken the network operations. We've mentioned network operations. Tons of data, lots of manual activities today. But depending on your comfort with technology, your comfort with data, you can actually go from an alarm coming in to a resolution in seconds based on the data that you feed into the model, how you train the model, and your level of trust with it. You could either do it step by step or have it moved into it. So that's, some really nice activations here as well as in the booths. I invite you to take a look at that. I'll end with 2 or 3 key announcements we've done this year, just from a consulting standpoint, just to give you a flavor of how we're working. I think it's great. Luke's here representing multiple industries. So this is a telco show. Last year we know that there were 50, I guess the stats were 50% of people were non-telco, came from non-telco background. So the variety and the collaboration across industries is increasing because telcos are right in the center of creating value across industries. So one of our wins earlier this year was actually working with the UK government, the Emergency Services Network. It's an effort where we are leading an ecosystem of partners to deliver user services for them, which is really meaningful work that we'll be doing over a period of time. And we're responsible for the design, implementation, delivery, and management of the user service component of those emergency services, 300,000 emergency services users. So that was one significant win. We also announced earlier this year a win at Etisalat, where Etisalat is going to be using our WhatsOnX.governance platform, which, by the way, is a platform that allows our clients to govern data and AI models, ensuring responsible use of AI, tracking the drift of the models and sending signals very early in the process to kind of course correct. So they want to be compliant with the regulations, and WhatsOnX platform, governance platform, allows you to model compliance as rules into your platforms. So it's allowing them to be compliant, be auditable, as well as practice ethical and responsible AI. And IBM Consulting is going to be implementing that platform. So that's the second one. The last one, we were talking just before the formal thing about security. So we announced yesterday, together with Vodafone, Vodafone's going to be using IBM's quantum safe technology in their secure net, which is their mobile all-in-one digital security technology, to prevent users and their data to be a victim of what could be a potential quantum computing risk in the future. So they're going to be embedding that technology and using quantum safe cryptography to prevent these data leaks. So those are some of the examples that we've had. Again, as I said, please take a look around, see the work that we're doing within both technology and consulting, and we'll be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Rahul. Before I pass across to Andrew, I just want to say kind of three additional short points. Firstly, what's incredibly unique about the IBM approach, of course, is that we are the only at-scale tech company with an at-scale consulting company inside. And that makes us incredibly unique in terms of, for example, when we talk about the IBM Consulting Advantage platform, we're building that on all of the capabilities and technologies that we've got with IBM and our partners, and that makes us incredibly powerful. But also, as we move from 85,000 to 160,000 users adopting, it also means that we're accelerating through the change and behavioral adoption, and that's an incredibly important part of how you then realize this for your clients. Last point I want to make is that when you go and look at that network operations advisor, you're going to see network operations advisors do all across the floor. How many network operations advisors are you looking at that are multi-equipment, multi-model, multi-partner? That's over the lot, right? So that's key to what you're going to go and see. Okay, but with that, I'm going to now hand over to Andrew to talk about the technology side of the house.
Great, thank you, and good morning. My name is Andrew Coward, and I'm responsible for the networking products here at IBM. 4 years ago, we set out to reinvent networking, to focus networking on applications. Nobody calls up a telco and says, I think the backhaul capacity is running low. They call up and say, I can't post on Facebook right now, or I can't play games. And yet that disconnect between the performance of applications and the delivery of the network is massive and still a major issue. And it's driven so much by complexity. So as we built our strategy, we've now gone through 5 acquisitions to build a portfolio of products in networking that understand the relationship between the network and the application. And that just represents such a massive shift. I wish I could say 4 years ago we put AI at the beginning in the thought process of this, but what we did do was say there's a massive data collection problem and a massive complexity issue. We call it the Noah's Ark problem, actually, in the sense that every one of our customers has got two of everything at every point in their network, whether it's routers, firewalls, load balancers, clouds. And if you think about the complexity of managing that and normalizing and understanding how applications run across those different things, you have to have a really good set of collection of data and a really good method for analyzing that and normalizing that across that infrastructure. And then when it comes to the AI piece of it, I think it's something really interesting. A lot of people think about AI as quite magic and this kind of genie, if you like, that you summon and it answers any question and it does anything. And if you think about the power of a genie has to have two really important attributes. First attribute of the genie is it has to be omniscient. It has to understand everything about its world in order to do whatever it is that you want it to do. And so that omniscience is a kind of fundamental requirement. And in a telco environment, that means do you have the right data? And in many cases for telcos, they're not collecting all the attributes that are important to map into their world. For example, they might know everything about the network, but do they know about the TV schedule that says that there's an FA Cup final today, and at half-time the network traffic's going to drop off massively? Is that baked into their understanding that it doesn't generate a lot of tickets to save us problems? So that omniscience is really important to the AI model. And the second thing that goes along with that is omnipotence, being all-powerful, the ability to actually do things. And I think this is where a lot of networks and a lot of telcos kind of fall down, right? They don't have the ability for the genie, the AI model, to actually execute on the task that it's given. So does your genie have the teeth, if you like, to kind of push out and push configuration and make changes and do that confidently, knowing that it's not going to break the network in the process? And so if you think about building a strategy around driving application understanding and then providing the power and the ability to go make changes in the network, once you have those kind of two base requirements, omniscience and omnipotence, then the power of the AI can actually come to the fore. I think it's really interesting. A lot of what we found is that big models, big LLMs, and especially to your point, don't work particularly well with network data. Network data is time series most often. And time series data is not well suited to LLMs. LLMs don't necessarily understand the difference between what happened yesterday versus last year. And so IBM Research actually built a time series model called Tiny Time Mixer. It was published last year in about March timeframe, and we published it into open source. And this Tiny Time Mixer algorithm has now been downloaded many millions of times. And we've obviously incorporated it into the AI products that we're building. If you look around this show, I think it's really interesting. There are, I'd say, 3 different types of AI that's really occurring here. The first is what I would call the folks here who are kind of building engines. They build a model and they produce it, give it to the world, and they say, go build yourself a car with what we've got. If you want a car being built and it's very custom, of course, then we as IBM, from a consulting perspective, can absolutely do that. The second type of vendor here is really selling what I call a vertically integrated stack. So they're saying, we're going to provide you everything in the network, all the way up the stack, including the AI, and so on. That's great if you only ever want to buy all your equipment from one vendor. As I described in Noah's Ark problem, that's really not what's going on. And so there are a few vendors, and I obviously would count IBM in this class, that are providing AI solutions where we deliver a car, and the car does everything you need to get you where you need to go, and combines multiple models, multiple techniques to get to the answers that are necessary to answer a simple question like, why is Facebook not posting right now? If you think about that question coming into any telco, or predicting when an application isn't going to work on the network, that's really the destination that we're all getting to. Because without that ability to translate a user question into a deep understanding of the network and what might be causing that issue, then we're really not solving the problem. We're really not getting to the answers that we need to. So from an IBM perspective and for the products that we've acquired, we really are seeing this kind of step change in driving application understanding. As a good example of that, we acquired a company called NS1. NS1 is a predominant authoritative DNS provider. And you go, well, what's DNS got to do with telco networks and what's that relevance in applications? Well, of course, DNS is about tying application understanding together with a network. And so whenever we serve up, and by the way, you've used NS1 probably a dozen or more times today if you've been to any major website, any major publication, played a game, watched a video, we're behind that. And we understand the performance of every single application that runs through that. We put a little bit of JavaScript in to understand it. We actually get internet weather. We know where in the world, which telco, which CDN is working better or worse at any point in time. So to my point around getting all the data that's necessary, that data isn't just from within the infrastructure of the network, it's from outside the network and outside in view as well. And so in the demos and things we have in our stand, you're going to see how this technology really ties these two things together and brings the network and the application into a way that we can really drive AI and provide the framework on which all these networks need to operate. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Well, I think we're short amount of time for questions, but we do want you to obviously go and have a look inside, and also we are all available for any number of follow-ups over a coffee or one-to-one. Okay. But anyway, any questions?